What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka NinosCorner, man. First off, if you like this content that is coming your way, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, get all my notifications. Yeah, folks, just like, comment, and subscribe and share this channel. It helps me grow the channel a lot. And folks, if you're listening to this on the streaming podcast platform, whether it is Apple Play, Google Play, Stitcher Breaker, like, comment, subscribe and share. Helps me grow the channel a lot. But today, folks, we're going to talk about how Texas can win the Big 12. Just a little bit of a season preview. We're going to take a look at what happened last year as far as the team and their stats, and just kind of compare it to the 2021 season and see where the actual difference was there and where we can get better here for the 2023 season based upon our stats from the last season. Also, kind of deep dive into some of the position battles and also some of the roster, right? So just looking at the roster and seeing what Texas has and why I believe Texas has an outstanding chance to win the Big 12 this year, should be favored, which they are favored to win the Big 12. And I think if Texas doesn't win 10 games this year, there are some problems. But folks, prior to that, let's get into our first sponsor, and here it is. This episode is brought to you by BetUS.com. Go to BetUS.com and get yourselves a 125% sign-up bonus using the promo code NinosCorner at BetUS.com. Folks, go download that BetUS.com app from your favorite Apple phone or Android phone and get yourselves a 125% sign-up bonus using the promo code NinosCorner. All right, folks, and we're back. So how can Texas win the Big 12 this year? Texas has a lot of returning talent coming back here, especially on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball as well. Honestly, it's really especially on the offensive side of the ball, returning pretty much 10 out of the 11 starters. But there is a little bit of shakeup there. You know, news coming from camps is basically saying that Campbell will be starting at the right guard position or has taken the lion's share snaps of the right guard during the first two fall scrimmages. Cole Hudson is kind of competing there as well, but it looks like Campbell's kind of overtaking him there. Folks, I think anybody who follows recruiting understands Campbell was the number one interior offensive lineman in the country, 5-star. I think people understood that once the light clicked on for him, that things were going to change and he was going to do great things. Now, I really do love what I see from Cole Hudson. Cole Hudson was young last year, but I tell you what, that was young, getting experience. I think the optimal situation here for Texas is to get as much of that talent here on the field as possible. I would love to see a lineup that has both not Campbell and Cole Hudson in it at the same time, which would be truly outstanding. But that might be something that we have to wait forward to the 2024 season, just due to the fact that Texas has some really good talent that is returning. News from camp is basically saying that Cole Hudson has also been cross training at center as well as left guard as well. You know, over there with him, Hayden Connor, and Neto. So there's a lot of just position battles across the offensive line here. So I think Texas is going to be good because Cal Flood is finding his top 8 to top 9 offensive linemen, and I think he finally has them here, especially understanding where Texas came from the two previous coaching staffs when it came to the offensive line. But Texas is returning a lot of offensive talent. Started out with Kelvin Banks Jr. at the left tackle position. Looks like Hayden Connor is going to be taking that left guard position. Jake Major still solidified there as the center. And if DJ Campbell takes over for the right guard, you got Campbell, and then you got Christian Jones, who decided to come back, and he's playing right tackle, which I think that is going to be an outstanding offensive line. And, Texas is missing two premier players, and that was Rojo and Bijan Johnson, man. So those two probably the lifeline and the blood of that offense last year. Just give it to Bijan, give it to Rojo, right? But I think Texas bringing Jonathan Brooks in to be the starter this year, supplementing that with some C.J. Baxter and also Keelan Robinson, Jaden Blue. I'm telling you, folks, Bijan Robinson was a transcendent talent at the running back position. Texas is severely going to miss him and Rojo. They broke more tackles than pretty much probably any running back duo in college football last year. They averted the first tackle pretty much a lot of the times. But I think We needed them to do that last year. I think this line is going to mature this year and be a better offensive line. And so that way, I think Jonathan Brooks and Baxter and Keelan Robinson and Jaden Blue, I think they're going to cook this year because I think the offensive line is going to be more matured and more solidified. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking the second year in this system, these guys going through a second year in this offensive system with Coach Sarkisian is going to pay dividends for this Texas offense. And I think this offense is going to be outstanding. From the wide receiver position, Xavier Worthy playing that field. Then you're having a guy like A.D. Mitchell, Isaiah Nayer also playing the boundary. And then having J.T. Sanders, man, probably one of the best tight ends here in the country, J.T. Sanders. And then Jordan Whittington, man. Jordan Whittington seems like he's been here since 2001, but he's the veteran on this team, and you got to be happy for him because he had his first full healthy season last year, and he played very well, extremely well. One of the most efficient guys we had in the team last year from the wide receiver position. And then also we're bringing back guys like Casey Kane. Don't forget about Casey Kane. Casey Kane was a very reliable and efficient receiver as well. But then we coupled that, folks, with the wide receiver talent brought in from the 2023 cycle. Jonte Cook, also DeAndre Moore. And I'm telling you, folks, we got some talent at that wide receiver position. I'm excited to see how Texas is going to implement them into the offense this year. They're going to be very explosive. Now, folks, the offense is not what I'm worried about. Having Quinn also come back, man, I think Quinn, that second year jump in this offense is going to be extraordinary for him. And so I just got a really good feeling about Quinn this year. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm not worried about the defense either, folks. Yes, we lost some players. We lost Demo. First off, shout out to Demo, man. Look, Longhorn fans are praying for you. We heard about the knee injury. Look, we're all Cowboy fans for the most part here in the Longhorn country. And, just want to send prayers up to Demo, man. Longhorn fans always got your back, man. Come back healthy, come back safely, healthy. And, we're going to watch you play next year and ball out for the Cowboys. But we lost Demo, lost Coburn, lost Ojimo, lost Anthony Cook, lost Jamison. We lost 5 guys who were either starters or guys who got a lot of playing time last year. I think the Longhorn defense is going to be just as good, if not better, this year, folks. Jalen Ford, being the captain of that defense, is going to be something extraordinary. Should have been the defensive player of the year for the Big 12 last year. You got screwed out of that. But I want to start up in the trenches, the defensive line. Sweat, Alfred Collins, Byron Murphy, my favorite player on that defensive line. Byron Murphy, he's a dog. Yes, he is. Vernon Broughton. On the ends, folks, your Ethan Burks, your Colton Vosiks, your Jamon Taps. You got Bledsoe playing kind of everywhere. Loving what I'm hearing from Bledsoe. You got Justice Finkley. Guys, Barron Sorrell. Barron Sorrell's a dog too, man. Loving what I'm seeing from that defense. I'm not worried about that defense at all. The linebacker position, like I said, Jalen Ford coming back. But then who's going to be next to him? Benda? Probably. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see Anthony Hills, a 5-star, top 10 or 15 player in the country. He's going to be playing a lot. Sark already has packages for this true freshman. He's already up to 235 pounds, folks. I mean, he's a monster. He's a heat-seeking missile, and they're going to move him around a lot, just around that field. What brings me to talk about Anthony Hills is kind of reminiscent of what PK did in the last offseason. PK went to meet with Dan Quinn last year. And I think a lot of that was, how does he weaponize Overshawn in last year's class? How does he weaponize him in last year's defense? Make him a Micah Parsons type player. And if you watch the Cowboys preseason games before Overshawn got hurt, he was all over the field, all over. He was like a Micah Parsons light. Micah Parsons is the best player, the best defensive player in the league. But he was kind of doing some of those same things, mimicking some of those same actions. So I think what Dan Quinn was seeing when he had Overshawn was he had a very athletic guy, 235-pound linebacker who can drop back in coverage and play some safety because that's what he's used to. That's what he's played his whole life. Comes down and plays linebacker, positionless football. That's something that Rob Babers talks about all the time. Shout out to Rob Babers. He talks about it all the time with Shano. up in the 49er land with having positionless football players who can play all over the field, a la Debo, a la Christian McCaffrey. Those guys just don't have one position. They play multiple positions. So positionless football, and I think that's what Dan Quinn was trying to do with having a guy like Overshawn on the field with Michael Parsons. Now, how does that relate to Texas? Just kind of go back to that meeting with PK and Dan Quinn. And now he has a 5-star linebacker. Overshawn had to learn to be a linebacker. Anthony Hills has been a linebacker pretty much his entire life. He's been born to play linebacker, right? So he knows the ins and outs of being a linebacker, and now he can weaponize Anthony Hills. He because he understands the tendencies of how to be a linebacker. He can rush him off the edge if it needs to be, because reports are coming out that he is one of the best edge rushers there on the team already. You can put him on the edge. You can drop him back in coverage. You can have him play traditional linebacker where he just has to hit a hole, get the tackle, see target, hit. You can have him and weaponize him like Dan Quinn does Michael Parsons. And I think PK is going to utilize him that way. I don't know for sure. I'm not in the camps. I don't have all but I'm just telling you, there's packages already in place put in for Hill, which means he's going to play a lot this year as a true freshman. So linebacker is going to be great. I cannot wait to see the maturation process of this defense with that. Secondary, I think it's going to be improved also. You got Jaron Thompson at the safety position, and you couple him with Jalen Catalon. As much as I love Anthony Cook, Swiss Army knife for the defense last year in the secondary, Jalen Catalon was a first-team All-SEC safety as a true freshman, folks. When he is on, he is on. If he doesn't get hurt this year, barring injury, that guy's going to be getting drafted next year. He's a special player. He's a very special player. We saw that when we went to go play him a couple years ago in Arkansas. Very special player. You got Ryan Watts on one side, playing the boundary. And then on the field side, man, we got a battle going on there, man. We got a battle. Is it Gavin Holmes? Is it Terrence Brooks? Can Malik Muhammad step up and do that? Who's getting all the turnovers and all the scrimmages? You got to love what you're hearing about Malik Muhammad. We already know that we got Barron, you know what I'm saying? Barron playing that star position, man. I'm telling you, man, our defense is loaded. I'm excited about it. So can Texas win the Big 12 this year? Yes, they should win. 10 wins is the minimum this year that they should win. How can they win the Big 12 this year? Well, let's get into those stats, folks. I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to go to my site, NinosCornerSports.com, and we're just going to talk about some of the things that we saw last year from the Texas team. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Go to Manscaped.com, get yourselves 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the promo code NinosCorner. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. They just released their Lawnmower 4.0 4th-generation trimmer. Go to Manscaped.com, get yourselves 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the promo code NinosCorner. All right, so if we take a look at what I want to look at first, let's go to NCN offense. NCN offense, folks. NCN, folks, is the NinosCorner number offense. All right, so the NinosCorner number calculates the efficiency and the effectiveness of an offense. Average scores around 50 points for a standard offense here in college football. Anywhere between 47 and 50 points, really. But if you're over 50 points, you're doing pretty well for the offensive side of the ball. So for the NCN offense for the 2022 season, 59.39 was the NCN offensive score. 4 points higher than, almost 4 points higher than what we had in 2021. We were a much more efficient offense last year. The running game with Bijan and Rojo was outstanding. We had 5,700 yards, about 570 more yards than we had in the previous season, or 550 more yards in the previous season. Our SPR, folks, SPR is the successful play rate for the offense. So, folks, let me explain successful play rate to you. Successful play rate is plays that continuously get you to a first down. Meaning on first down, I need you to get half the yardage needed on first down to get a first down. So if it's 1st and 10, if you get 5 yards, that's a successful play. Second down, you got to get 70% of the yards on second down for that play to be deemed a successful play. Okay. And then third down, you need all the yards to get a first down. That is a successful third down. And if it goes to a fourth down, you need all the yards on fourth down to bet for that to be a successful play. So that is how we calculate the successful play rates here at Nino's Corner. All right. And so for the 2021 season, Texas had a successful play rate of 45.12 points. Last year, 47.24, a little bit more successful than we were in the previous season. For the offensive side of the ball, for the NCN offense, we're about 4 points, well, let's say 3.5 points higher than we were in the previous season for the NCN offense. Doesn't matter. The offense was still really good in the 2021 season, even though we got bogged down on some things. Now, we did have less offensive touchdowns last year. We only had 2 less. So it's kind of a wash. Tackles for loss, we had 38 tackles for loss compared to 36. That was more than the previous year as well. So you're saying, well, Nino, if we scored less touchdowns, we had more tackles for loss in the backfield, how do we have a higher NCN number? Right here, folks. Right here. We had less turnovers. We had less sacks, folks. 24 sacks compared to 17 sacks. So 17 last year, 24 in 2021. Okay, less sacks, which is outstanding. It shows the growth of that offensive line, having that offensive line in place and having it solidified, having a guy like Kelvin Banks Jr. there, across the line, Hayden Connor, Majors, Cole Hudson, and Christian Jones. That line was really good for this team last year, and they're only getting better because we're all back this year. Less turnovers, mainly due because they had a really good offensive line. And then the penalties. Yes, we had more penalties because that offensive line was very young. So we had more penalties, folks. We were anticipating more penalties this year. You have 2 true freshmen on the line and a sophomore on the line. These guys are getting their starts. I expect a more disciplined offensive line this year because college football is not going to be new to these guys anymore. This is their second full season for our true freshmen. It's a third season here for Hayden Connor. Jacob Majors is also, this is what his fourth season. And then Christian Jones is fourth or fifth season as well. So, folks, I think we're going to have a more disciplined team and less penalties, but cut those sacks down a lot last year and cut the turnovers down also. And so those are possessions. Turnovers are possessions. We got 4 more possessions because of that. And also, folks, not having all those sacks, that let's just say we had 7 less sacks, that might be the equivalent of another 3.5 to 4 possessions that we have gotten. And how many games did we win last year by 1 possession? It was quite a bit. So look here. That's the NCN offense. Now, let's go to the NCN defense, where I think we really improved a lot. The NCN defense, folks, averages around 47 points, 48 points. Texas was below average in 2021 at 44.86. The SPR defense, so their successful play rate was 46.45 points. You look at last year in the 2022 season, we jumped up almost 7 points last year, folks, when it comes to the NCN defense. That defense increased so much last year, so much of a better defense. The SPR for the defense, they were successful over half the time. So that is truly outstanding as well compared to the previous season as well. One thing I do want to say, the TDs allowed. We allowed 42 touchdowns in 2021. That number went down to 32 touchdowns. 10 less touchdowns allowed last year. This defense was humming. We had more tackles for loss, 58 compared to 53. We had more sacks, 28 compared to 17. We had less fumble recoveries, 5 in the previous season, 3 in 2022, but we had more interceptions, 10 compared to 7. We had more fourth down stops, 13 compared to 9, of which we had more fourth down stops against Texas Tech. Neither here nor there, and I'm not going to bring that up anymore. And we took a lot of chances last year. We did have more penalties last year, but I'm fine with us taking chances. We have more penalties. And some of those penalties shouldn't have been penalties, folks. You go look at that Alabama game. I don't even want to talk about the Alabama game anymore, but look, the defense played markedly better last year. They went from a bottom 30 team to a top 30 team in a year. And I only expect that defense to either stay where they're at or get better. PK has his system rolling. He has it rocking and rolling. I think the defense is going to be outstanding and extraordinary for that simple fact that the continuity is there. If you guys take a look at the defense last year, this year is going to be the first time some of these defenders have had a defensive coordinator for 3 years straight since they were probably in high school. It is what it is. That is the truth about Texas defensive coordinators. We had the Chris Ash experiment, which was pretty good. But prior to that, we had what's the guy's name, Todd Orlando. For a couple years there with Herman. we've had a lot of turnover. Todd Orlando to Chris Ash to PK. I mean, we had 3 defensive coordinators in a 3-year span. And now we are coming up on a 6-year span here. And some of these guys are going to have the same defensive coordinator for the first time, to have this guy in the place for 3 years, probably since they were in high school. So a lot of continuity here, knowing the right calls, knowing the right plays, knowing the right reads, because this is your defense. Gotta love it. I think this defense is going to be markedly better again this year, and I look for great things in this defense. Now, folks, I want to go to the SPR rate, the NinosCorner successful play rate. Look at the 2021 season. The SP rate, if we go take a look at the total, 45%, 45.5% in 2021 for successful plays in the offense side of the ball. 2022, 47.24. So honestly, folks, about the same. Not much of a difference. But what did change? If you go take a look at the SPR rushing, the SPR rushing was about the same, 48.95 to 48.99. It was a wash. Bijan and Rojo showed for 2 years straight. We know what we got there. We got highly successful plays, those guys, basically 49%. So basically almost 50% every other time they touched the ball, it was successful play. It's the passing. The SPR for passing went up 4 points. And people are saying, how? Look at the season last year. We didn't have Nayer. We didn't have the best season from Worthy. First off, Worthy might not have had his best season. However, like we said, he was battling broken hand from all the reports, and he still had a damn good season. 21 touchdowns in 2 years here at Texas. Worthy balled out. He still did his thing. Didn't have his best season last year. I expect it to change this year. But it was not just a Worthy thing when it comes to the SPR passing. You also got to look at the conglomerate of the wide receivers and the tight ends and the running backs who caught balls as well this year in the passing game. The emergence of a guy like JT Sanders helped boost that SPR passing up to 45.63. Became one of the top tight ends in the country last year. Jordan Whittington having a fully healthy season this past season was outstanding for him and this team as well going forward. Casey Kane had a pretty damn good season himself. So that SPR passing rate went up because it was a conglomerate. It's not just the Xavier Worthy show, even though he is probably our best wide receiver in the team. He's going to be one of the top draft picks, I think, in anywhere between first and third round here next year if he does his thing. His separation is just unmatched. And I think we all knew something was up when he wasn't catching those long balls last year, and it had to be in the hand. And all the reports have come out that it was his hand. His hand was broken. But we are seeing that this team also had a different quarterback last year. Now, we had Casey Thompson play in the previous year, and the SPR passing was around 42 points. Hudson Card and Quinn Ewer started last year, and it went up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to put that all in the quarterbacks either. Offensive line, I think, was a lot better last year than we had in the previous year, and that helps out a lot. You remember that previous stat that we had, the sacks went down from 24 sacks to 17. That gives the quarterback more time to throw that ball, clean pocket, does his thing. SPR goes up, right? That's what we want, folks. That's what we want. Now, the last chart that I want to bring up is the explosive play rate. It's one of my favorite charts. I love explosive plays. And the definition, folks, for explosive plays, for rushing plays, any play over 15 yards rushing. For passing, any play over 20 yards passing. So if you go just take a look from left to right, 2021, Texas had 35 explosive plays rushing, 2022, 39. The rushes 427 to 445 from 21 to 22 respectively. The explosive plays in the passing game, this is where it was not that good, folks. We had 62 explosive plays in the passing game in 2021 on 372 passing plays. Now, we had 51 more passes in 2022 and had 11 less explosive plays, right? So we had 90 total explosive plays last year compared to 97 in 2021. Our offense in 2021 was bam, bam, bam. I'm telling you, man, we were hitting deep balls like crazy. And I think our offense was predicated a lot on making deep passes, explosive plays that we did kind of, hit on. But once that's taken away, what do we do? Last year, I think we got back to the basics. I honestly think we got back to the basics. And when things went bad, run the ball. Give it to your cheat code. Give it to Bijan. Give it to Rojo. And now those are roles that are going to have to be filled by Jonathan Brooks and C.J. Baxter and Keelan Robinson and Jaden Blue. But let's take a look at the explosive play rate rushing. 8.2 in 2021 compared to 8.76 in 2022. So about even. Now, the explosive play rate passing, 16.67% in 2021, 12% in 2022. Tell you folks, our explosive play rate went down 4.5 points last year. That's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. I would love to see this number hover between 15 and 20% will be outstanding for the 2023 season. I think we can probably do around 20%. We got some guys that are no kidding deep threats with A.D. Mitchell, Isaiah Nayer, Jordan Whittington can get down that field as well and get a 20-yard, catch and run. And we all know X-Men can do that too as well. But our explosive play rate was not the best last year. We had drop balls last year. The offense, I don't think, was in sync a lot last year. We had Quinn coming back from injury last year. We lost Isaiah Nayer, which I thought was going to help out this explosive play rate a lot also. So it was boom or bust with Xavier Worthy. You can put double coverage on him and make other players make plays. And they didn't make enough of them last year in the explosive play rate realm for passing. So that hurt us a lot, folks. Now, if we go take a look at the total for the explosive play rate, 12% from 2021 to 10.34% in 2022. We got to get that number up. I want to see that really, folks. I want to see that to about 15% all the way across the board. If we can get 15% across the board, that's humming. But that's hard to do from the rushing rate to get a run of 15 yards or more every 10th play. That's hard to do, folks. So around 8 to 10% is going to be great. You got to look. We had an explosive play rate of 8.76% with 2 NFL running backs. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, to think that we're going to do better than that, with Bijan gone and Rojo gone, guys that were continuously not getting tackled in the backfield and having the first tackle be missed, we're going to be crazy to think that. Now, I want to go take a look at the explosive play yards rushing. 1,076 yards, explosive play yards rushing. We had a total of 2,600 yards rushing. So 27.59 yards per explosive play rush. So the average explosive play rush was 27.59 yards last year. That's a lot. That's really good, folks. I mean, that's outstanding. Now, explosive play rushing, explosive play rate when it comes to rushing yards, folks, 41.26%. That is outstanding. Outstanding. 41.26% of our rushing yards were explosive play yards, meaning 41.26% of our total rushing yards were yards that were 15 yards or more, plays that were 15 yards or more. All right, folks, look at the passing game now. Now, the passing game. The previous season, 2021, 1,656 explosive play passing yards. Last year, 1,441 explosive play passing yards. Total of 3,044 passing yards compared to 2,635 yards per explosive play. 26.71 in 2021, 28.25 last year. And our explosive play yards passing, 62.85% of our passing yards in 2021 were explosive play yards, plays that were 20 yards or more. Okay. 47, that dropped down 15%, folks. Our explosive play rate passing yards, 47.34% of our passing yards were plays that were explosive in nature, meaning passing plays that were 20 yards or more. That dropped 15% from the 2021 season. It's a big drop. That's a huge drop. 62% is kind of high. 50%, 55% would be nice. I mean, look, if we can get 62% and keep what we're doing our thing, make it happen. But that's a huge drop off. And that just kind of shows you what this Texas offense was missing last year. Sarkisian's offense, we love to see those big plays We didn't see a lot of them last year. We had different reasons why we didn't see them, but that number did drop 15%. Now, folks, explosive play yards total 25.38 last year compared to 26.32 from the previous year. Our yards per explosive play for 2022 was 28.2 yards, 27.1 yards for 2021, and our explosive play rate for total yards 44% of our total 44% of our total yards from 2022 were explosive play yards, meaning yards that were 15 yards or more in a running play or 20 yards or more in a passing play. The previous season, 50.9%. So 50.9% of our total offensive yards in 2021 came from plays that were 15 yards or more in rushing or 20 yards or more in passing. So, folks, that is kind of what you will see from me when it comes to game by game analysis. I'm going to bring you guys that kind of stuff every game. I'm going to try to track it at halftime too, and maybe have a halftime show. Honestly, like I did last year. Last year I had the halftime show, and maybe if I can get those real time, maybe I can kind of talk about those at halftime. I don't think I have time, but I'm going to have a little surprise for you guys for the halftime show this year. But folks, let me know what you think, man. I'm ready for college football. I'm ready for Texas. We're 11 days away from Texas playing against Rice. It's going to be an outstanding season. Texas, we're going to win the Big 12, folks. We should win the Big 12. We got the talent, barring injury. Texas should win the Big 12. I'm excited about it. I'm going to the Alabama game this year. Me and the wife. So if you guys see me, and you see a guy in a burnt orange shirt and a burnt orange hat in the middle of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and you're wondering if that's Nino, yes, it's me. Come up and say hey to me, man. Doing a lot of tailgating that day too as well. But folks, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video and this channel. Let me know what you guys think about the stats that were here. And let me know what you guys think. Is Texas going to win the Big 12 this year? And let me know why. But on that note, folks, man, end this podcast like I end them all. Do you. Don't be afraid to fail. Outgrow your environment. Understand your brilliance. Guess what, horns? They always up around here. Hook them all day long.